Hey everyone, we know how hard it can be to keep up with the latest news in Israel. So if you haven't had the time to stay on top of what's what in the Holy Land, we're here for you. I'm Ladar Gavelazi, and this is ILTV's Weekly Review. As Hamas remains in breach of the ceasefire agreement, the U.S. military has released footage showing the terror group is looting aid meant for Palestinian civilians. Hamas is denying the charges despite the act all being caught on camera. The latest in the following report. U.S. Central Command, or CENTCOM, released a video showing Hamas terrorists looting humanitarian aid meant for Palestinian civilians in Khan Yunis. The U.S.-led Civil Military Coordination Center, or CMCC, obtained the footage by a U.S. aerial drone conducting surveillance over Gaza and shows terrorists attacking the driver of a truck and stealing the aid. The driver's current status remains unknown. Hamas has denied the charges. CENTCOM said that over the past week, international partners have delivered more than 600 trucks of commercial goods and aid into Gaza daily. Over the weekend, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff of the U.S. Armed Forces, General Dan Kane, visited Israel as the official guest of the Chief of the General Staff, Eyal Zamir. During the visit, the General and the Chief of General Staff held a joint situational assessment during which they discussed regional challenges, focusing primarily on the situation in Gaza and future challenges in both nearby and distant arenas. Meanwhile, taking the opportunity while speaking at an IDF officers course graduation ceremony at the Combat Officers Training School at Bad 1, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said Israel will not give up on achieving total victory, and if it has to, will do it alone.
אנחנו מחליטים ואנחנו פועלים ככל שצריך להסיר סכנה מיידית לכוחותינו. אנחנו מחליטים ואנחנו פועלים. בסופו של יום, החמאס יפורק מנשקו ועזה תפורז. אם כוחות זרים יעשו זאת, מה טוב. ואם הם לא יעשו זאת, אנחנו נעשה זאת.
And moving on now to the northern front, which is heating up. Israel struck southern Lebanon, eliminating Hezbollah terrorists as Defense Minister Katz accused the Lebanese president of dragging his feet. The latest in the following report. The IDF confirmed Sunday morning it struck and eliminated 4 terrorists from Hezbollah's Radwan force. In a statement, the army said that last night, under the leadership of Northern Command and using the Air Force, the IDF struck the Ramman area in southern Lebanon and eliminated the head of logistics support for Hezbollah's Radwan force in the area. The IDF said the terrorists facilitated the transfer of combat means and engaged in attempts to rehabilitate Hezbollah's terror infrastructure in the southern Lebanon area, in clear violation of the ceasefire agreement between Israel and Lebanon. Following the strike, Defense Minister Israel Katz issued a statement accusing the president of Lebanon of dragging his feet. Katz said the Iranian-backed terror proxy is playing with fire and called on the Lebanese government to uphold its commitment to disarm Hezbollah and remove it from southern Lebanon. According to the U.S.-brokered ceasefire agreement, Hezbollah must fully disarm and its terror forces pushed back to above the Litani River, both of which have yet to be implemented by the Lebanese government and army. Katz reiterated that Israel will continue its policy of maximum enforcement and said this might even intensify, adding that Israel will not allow any threat to the residents of the north. And speaking this weekend at a conference in Manama, Bahrain, U.S. Special Envoy to Lebanon and Syria, Thomas Barrack, said on Saturday that despite the setbacks, Hezbollah still remains a major threat to the state of Israel. He questioned who really runs Lebanon, Hezbollah or the Lebanese government. This is what he had to say.
So what's the state? The state is Hezbollah. You go south, Hezbollah gives you water, gives you an education, gives you a stipend, has 40,000 soldiers. LAF, Lebanese Armed Forces, has 60,000 soldiers. The only problem is the Hezbollah soldiers make $2,200 a month. The LAF soldiers make $275 a month. The Hezbollah soldiers have 15,000, 20,000 rockets and missiles. The LAF soldiers are driving old Jeeps, some AK-47s. So which army is which? What's happening?
Last night, a dramatic story was developing in Israel after igniting a controversial scandal of a leaked video incriminating IDF soldiers. Military advocate General Ifat Tomer Yerushalmi was declared missing by Israeli police. Amid the chaos, the disgraced general was later located alive and unharmed. ILTV's Devo Klein has the full story.
Israeli police spent hours on Tel Aviv's Cliff Beach late last night, searching for the woman whose photo was plastered on every Israeli newspaper that day. Massive teams of search and rescue were deployed to the beach, all to find outgoing military advocate general Yifat Tomer Yerushalmi, after her car was found abandoned with only a letter left behind. Just as the Israeli public began assuming that the general had taken her own life, Israeli police announced that Tomer Yerushalmi was found alive. She was later detained for questioning. A few hours before her disappearance, Tomer Yerushalmi was revealed to be the general who leaked a video that rattled the nation. The video supposedly depicts IDF soldiers of the 100th unit allegedly abusing Palestinian prisoners. The prisoners in question, Nukhba terrorists who, before being taken to Israeli prisons, spent the morning of October 7, 2023 slaughtering, raping, mutilating, and beheading their way through Israeli civilian kibbutzim. And yet, that is not the most damning part of the story. After being analyzed by experts upon its initial release in July 2024, it was determined that the video had been doctored, edited to splice together two separate days of footage in order to incriminate the soldiers. Despite piles of evidence suggesting that the video was doctored, the damage had already been done. Tomer Yerushalmi's betrayal, which she says was because of a smear campaign against the IDF's prosecution, had ignited a nationwide catastrophe. Israel's public image had been destroyed, with international bodies quick to condemn Israel for its treatment of Palestinian prisoners, Nukhba terrorists, with the blood of innocents on their hands. Tomer Yerushalmi will be investigated in the coming days, but police were too late in locating the general, who had already managed to dispose of her mobile phone, which is still not found. Her phone likely contained more evidence that could shed more light on this anomalous story. This story is developing.
And joining us now to discuss the latest developments regarding the situation with Gaza is retired IDF Colonel Miri Eisen. She's a senior fellow at the International Institute for Counterterrorism. Miri, thanks for joining us. First of all, let me just start by asking you about the situation of Hamas fighters who are still behind what we'd say are Israeli lines in Gaza and what to do with them. Again, this is one of those things you would think would have been planned out a little before the agreement was reached and Israel pulled back to the lines. And how is Israel going to handle the situation now?
So there are two different sides to this, Kalev. The one aspect is that underground subterranean arena that we keep talking about 2 years later, just like you and I have been talking about it probably for the last 20 years, is still exists. That means that they can go underground into areas that the IDF has deployed in that yellow line area. So that's one aspect that the IDF wants to continue to work against. The IDF has said we destroyed maybe 50% of the underground subterranean arena, but not more. Second aspect is, where are the bodies? And here it's called Hamas being a terror organization. Of course, they're going to say that all of the bodies are where Israel is, because it gives them the chance to try to push back, to push the lines, to change the situation. What's important for them is for them to show that they're dominating. And on that one, I think that Israel has been quite clear on what to do. But we still need the bodies back. We still need to end it both with the 8 bodies that have not been returned and with a new force that's going to come in and hopefully put Hamas in a different place.
Let me ask you, Miri, though, there are those who say even if these Hamas terrorists would lay down their arms, Israel should hold them until those bodies are returned. Others say they may have even been involved in the attacks on Israeli troops after the ceasefire, and they have to be punished for it.
What I'm always asking people is, what do you think a ceasefire is? This is not peace. This is not the end of the war. Hamas has not suddenly said, hi, we recognize Zionism or Jews. That they have not done, and they're not going to do that. They are a terror organization, and in that ideology, they're going to continue to try to push the lines. The question at the end is, do we want to be, it's an old term in Israel, is this about being right? I don't see myself right now persuading those Hamas terrorists, and what I want to do is I want to arrive at a place where I, Israel, define what's important to me, bring back those bodies, put Hamas in a place that I, Israel, can live with. This isn't about their rhetoric. This is about their capabilities. And that's a combo which is very challenging because after 2 years, it's not that we've destroyed all of their capabilities. But Kalev, they can't do on October 7th. They absolutely can continue to attack Israeli troops that are inside the Gaza Strip. And we're going to have to see how we find a whole new arena. And I'm all for international troops. I want somebody else to show us that they can do it better. They can't, but it's a way to be able to contend with this.
Well, let me ask you about this international troops. Finally, who is going to disarm Hamas? I mean, that's what this plan supposedly submitted to UN doesn't really lay out. Can this ISF really even carry out that task?
So I want to be very wordy for a moment. I want to talk about the words demobilize and disarm. And first and foremost, I want to demobilize them. I want them not to be the ones out on the streets telling everybody what to do. I want them not to be involved in any way in the day-to-day running of the Gaza Strip. I also don't want Israel to have to do so. That means bringing somebody else in. That is not yet disarming them, but that is demobilizing them. Can that force that comes in disarm them? Can we take it one step at a time? I don't want, as Israel itself, to be the one ruling directly there. I don't want Hamas to be ruling there. At the end, we're talking about a compromise that I can live with. I think that the state of Israel, the IDF, and again, it isn't a happily ever after. But with Hamas, that terror ideology, there is none. Let's demobilize them. Let's show the people on the street there that it's not Hamas that's ruling, that they're not out there with their weapons in that open way. And the next stage, we can talk about disarming.
All right, Colonel Miri Eisen, thank you so much for joining us on ILTV.
Thank you.
The final American hostage whose body was held in Gaza was finally brought home last night. Itai Chen, an American Israeli, was identified at the Tel Aviv Forensic Institute Abu Kabir after his body was discovered by Hamas and handed over to the Red Cross. He can now finally be laid to rest. ILTV's Devil Klein has more.
Hamas claims that Itai's body was discovered in the Sajaiya neighborhood near Gaza City, a notorious Hamas stronghold and the grounds for fierce battles against the terror group during the IDF's incursion. Hamas handed the body of Chen to the International Committee of the Red Cross in Gaza City. The Red Cross later delivered the body to Israeli authorities before arriving at the National Forensic Institute for identification. Chen is the final American hostage whose body was held in Hamas captivity. Now, only 5 Israeli bodies and 2 foreign nationals remain. Staff Sergeant Itai Chen was 19 when he was killed in his tank defending kibbutz near Oz on October 7th, according to IDF intelligence. His body was taken into Gaza by Hamas terrorists and has been held for over 2 years. During these 2 years, Itai's parents, Ruby and Chagit Chen, despite being notified officially of their son's death in March 2024, have campaigned tirelessly for his return. Ruby and Chagit repeatedly met with visiting U.S. envoys, with Trump himself in the White House, and spent hours upon hours at Hostages Square, pleading for their son's return. Writing on X, Secretary of State Marco Rubio said, quote, "We honor his life, mourn his loss, and stand with his family." Matan Angrist, who shared a tank with Itai Chen and was returned from Hamas captivity alive, eulogized his fallen friend, saying, quote, "I haven't stopped thinking of you. You are finally home, my brother." Israel is now demanding that Hamas release all of the remaining bodies still held in Gaza, as per the U.S. brokered ceasefire for hostages agreement. Israel has so far complied with the guidelines of the ceasefire. Hamas, unsurprisingly, have failed on almost all of them.
And joining us now from New York City is Michael Rappaport. He's a well-known actor, comedian, and a podcast host. Also, like me, a born and bred New Yorker, a proud New Yorker. But Michael, how are you feeling about your city right now?
Well, first of all, I want to say hello to everybody in Israel. And, all the people that I've met, all the people that are still suffering, and we still have people that need to come home akshav immediately. So I want to start with that. You know how I'm feeling. I'm disappointed that he won. I will do what some of the other people do. He's not my mayor. I won't call him the mayor. You know, one thing that I thought about this morning was that, you know, as Jewish people, you know, we've been through way worse than this little liar con man. And, you know, we just have to continue being loud and proud and staying together. And we're going to be okay. I'm hoping for the best. I'm wishing him nothing but the best and the best of luck. And hopefully he does, you know, good for everybody and make sure the city is safe and thriving. And, you know, we'll see what it is. But for right now, you know, it was disappointing for me. It was disappointing for a lot of people. I don't trust him. But like I said, I am hoping for the best and hoping that, you know, he does a great job for everybody, not just, you know, a few people.
Michael, New York has something like 1.3 million Jews, largest single Jewish population of any city in the world. We don't know the figures yet. Some people are speculating it could be half, 50% he got of the Jewish vote. How is that in New York, the city like New York, so many residents and so many Jews apparently voted for Mamdani?
You know, there's a lot of confused Jewish people. There's a lot of people that need to, you know, make sure they value themselves and value who they are and what they stand for and get informed and get, you know, go to Israel. I suggest all Jews go to Israel.
Well, let me ask you about go to Israel, because some ministers in Israel this morning, the Diaspora Affairs minister is actually calling on Israel, on Jews in New York to move to Israel. Now, how do you react to that?
Well, listen, I'm all for people moving to Israel. I'm all for Jews moving to Israel, but I am not for people being afraid and New Yorkers leaving New York in fear. I don't support that. I don't think it's a good precedent to set. I am all for if people want to come to Israel, beautiful, but I don't think it should be done out of fear, especially not now, especially not in New York City. We're not at that point by any means. It is our city. Jewish people are the fabric of New York City. We always have been. We've done so much for this community, and we're not going anywhere. I'm not being ran out of the city that I was born in because of some you know, new mayor. He's gonna, you know, he made a lot of promises. He said a lot of things, and he said, you know, he's gonna deliver a lot of things. And I think that his base and the people that voted for him are going to, you know, get some reality real soon. And you know what? If New York's not safe, it's going to not be safe for everybody. Just because you voted for Mamdani doesn't mean you'll still be safe on the train. That's not how it works if you're dealing with, you know, bad people. Like, oh, I voted for this person, I posted this emoji. It's not how it works. So hopefully he keeps the city safe. And, you know, I can't wait for my free buses and my free, I'm looking forward to rent being free. I don't know when that starts, maybe January, February. But, you know, I'm in a rental apartment in New York City. I love a free couple of months of rent.
Right. Let me ask you, Michael, I mean, you've been outspoken on many issues, but certainly as a Jew on issues that affect the Jewish community. This is a critical time for the Jewish community. Look, there have been some celebrities who have debated you and some that supported Mamdani, but the majority have not spoken out on all of these issues. And, you know, how do you explain that, that people who would have an interest here? I mean, you've worked with some big Jewish personalities who have spoken about their Jewish, Lisa Kudrow, I could go on. Jews who have married into the Jewish community, Selena Gomez, who's got a huge following. Why aren't those people speaking out either one way or the other?
I can't speak on their behalf. I don't put too much weight into what any of us say, celebrities and all that stuff. You know, people have articulated what they've wanted to articulate. They've shown you who they are. And, you know, we can't expect the cavalry ain't coming in, whether the cavalry is some of our Jewish people or not. The cavalry ain't coming in. We have to take care of ourselves. We have to support ourselves. We have to lean into our Judaism, our Zionism, you know, keep rapping tefillin, stick together, stay strong, and, you know, keep praying and keep fighting. And like I said, you know, we've heard it all. We've been through it all. And we'll be just fine when the dust clears from Zoran the Moron.
Well, you talk about it's still speaking out. There have been incidents in New York, of course, Jews being assaulted. We saw the situation in Colombia and elsewhere. And that was in a previous administration when finally police were called in. We're now looking at a mayor who's going to be in charge of the police force in New York. I mean, how safe are Jews going to feel to speak out for Israel, to attend things like the Israel Day parade, to support Jewish institutions like the Cornell Technion that Mamdani has said that maybe he wants to take action against?
He's saying a lot of things, and a lot of things ain't going to happen, and a lot of things ain't going to happen immediately. Like I said, people are concerned. I'm concerned, but I also trust Hashem. I trust the fact that New York City is still the greatest city on earth. And until I'm proving, something else, I have to believe that and trust that. And, we have to fight. You have to keep your head on the swivel. We have to fight. We have to be involved. And, we have to stay conscious. I say, woke is a bad term, but I think, it should be taken back. We need to stay woke and stay involved and keep educating yourself and informing yourself.
All right, Michael, since you started the conversation expressing support and solidarity for Israel, let me tell you, we here in Israel are expressing now support and solidarity for you, the Jewish community in New York City.
Let me say something. What's going on in New York is nothing compared to what Israel has been through historically, certainly not what Israel has been through in the last 2 years. Do not worry about us. We're going to be just fine. I want everybody in Israel to heal. I want everybody in Israel, to be able to, just find peace and move forward sincerely. Do not worry about New York. We're going to be just fine. Israel has gone through way, way worse. And I find strength and inspiration in knowing that and keeping things in perspective.
All right, I'm not sure you could tell Jews not to worry in either be in New York or in Israel or anywhere. Michael Rappaport, thank you for joining us on ILTV.
Thank you.
The Pentagon has reportedly advanced a massive sale of F-35 fighter jets to Saudi Arabia that would significantly impact the strategic landscape of the Mideast. According to Reuters, the deal involves the Saudi purchase of at least 48 of the fighter jets that contain the world's most advanced stealth technology. Now, the sale of such sensitive technology would require the approval of Congress and a sign-off by President Trump. But Reuters said the administration is helping to complete that process in time for the visit to Washington by the Saudi leader, Prince Mohammed bin Salman, set for November 18th. Previous administrations declined to provide the Saudis with F-35s, in part so Israel would maintain its qualitative military edge in the region. But President Trump has been more open to such sales. Last May, the U.S. agreed to sell the Saudis some $142 billion worth of arms, calling it the largest defense cooperation agreement ever done with a foreign country.
For more of the latest updates from Israel, make sure to subscribe to our newsletter at ILTV.tv or download the ILTV Plus app. That's it for ILTV's weekly review. See you next week.